Hello, my name is Ilya, and today I'm going to show you how to translate your Flutter applications into multiple languages. So to get started, let's create a new Flutter application, and then we will need to do some preparations, because, well, after all, we need some demo content. Well, therefore, let's open the main Dart file and let's provide the following content inside. So that's going to be my app that we will create in a moment. So inside this lib folder, create the app folder, and then this my app inside. So as for this file, well, it will contain very simple code really. So that's going to be our material app with this title, with this theme, and with this home page. Awesome. The next step is to create a home page. So let's create the pages folder, and inside there is going to be my homepage.dart. Well, this home page will contain a small button that users can click in order to increment the counter. You can find the source code of this app in the video description, but all in all, well, we have this create state, this increment counter. Then we create this widget in the following way. Then we will ask the user to press the button, and we will say how many times this button has been pressed. And then, well, here is our button. Basically, that's it. So the groundwork is done, and now I would like to translate this title, and, well, I would like to translate this message and this text. So we will need some additional dependencies. Therefore, let's add Flutter localizations, and also let's add this Intel library. So we will need to add these two guys, and now we should be good to go. But also we need to do some configuration here inside this file. So let's search for this Flutter part, and inside let's add this option and save the changes. Awesome. Now let's create a new file that is called l10n.yaml. Inside we can provide the following config. So this is where our translations will be located. This is like the main file, and finally the compiled translations will be added to this file. Because, well, here is the deal. The translations initially will be stored inside those arb files, but Flutter itself cannot consume translations from these files. So these should be compiled into regular Dart files. This output localization file will be consumed by Flutter in order to, well, actually localize our application. Alright, so now let's see how to create those arb files. Therefore, let's add a new folder inside lib. And here let's create a new file that is called intel.en arb. So my primary language of this application will be English, and I would like to provide some translations inside. So first of all, let's say that the locale is en. So this is like a metadata for this file. Then I would like to provide the following key value pair. So this is the translation key that we are going to utilize in the app source code, and this is the translation value. And in fact, we can also provide some metadata inside in the following way. So for example, if you would like to explain what is the purpose of this translation key, or maybe where it is displayed, or what is the context, etc., you can provide metadata in the following way, and you must specify this at character, and inside maybe you can provide the description. Also, let's provide another translation key. Well, it is not mandatory to specify metadata for every translation key, but you can do it. Now let's suppose that I would like to translate my application into Russian, so let's provide the following values inside. Awesome. Now we will need to compile these translations and produce special Dart files. Therefore, let's run the following command. It is going to read this file and produce Dart files. You will be able to find these files in this directory. So right here you can see here is the app localizations file. And well, basically inside it provides some useful methods that we can take advantage of. Also, it stores the list of all the supported locales based on your ARB files. Then you can see it has these translation keys, and well, there are some additional code inside. As for the files themselves, you will see your translation keys and values in the following way and the locale. Now the question is, how can we use these files in our application? Well, let's get started by importing this file inside my app in the following way. And I would like to add some information about these translations. So first of all, here let's provide localization delegates taken from this file. Also, it is a good idea to provide the supported locales. Well, of course, you can hard code those locales here manually, but it makes a little sense to do so because all these locales are found right here. So these are compiled for us. By the way, you are not supposed to modify this file manually because it is generated automatically after all. And now let's see how to translate this title. Actually, we should replace this title with the following line of code. So check it out. We're saying on generate title, and then we are taking this translation key from app localization. So that's how you can utilize your translation keys in the source code. Now let's display the welcoming message in the home page. So let's maybe add this import once again. And I would like to provide the title as well. So here I'm simply replacing this stuff. And note that in this case we don't need to say const anymore, so it cannot be a constant. Now let's save the changes and try to run our application to check that everything is working fine. And well, take a look at that. So here is the title, here is the welcoming message, and everything is working just great. Now let's see how to perform interpolation. So for instance, let's suppose that here I would like to display some copyright information about this tutorial. So well, let's open this file once again and let's add the following translation key. So effectively, this is the interpolation. So on this position, you can display some custom text or maybe some custom number. In this case, this is going to be the name of the company. Also, you can provide the meta information once again, and you can even explain what placeholders this text contains. So you can say that the company is expected to be a string, and here is an example. So really convenient. Now let's also provide translation here, and we should be good to go. One thing to remember is that you should always rerun this command to regenerate your Dart files. So those should be recompiled whenever you change your ARB files. And now let's return to the home page, and maybe here we can add this copyright info. And in order to provide the value for that placeholder, you are doing this. So you are just calling this method and you are saying that this is an argument. Now let's see how to display the currently set locale. And so to achieve that, I will create a new widget inside the widgets directory. So let's call it current locale widget. And here is the contents for this widget. What we are doing is we are simply reading the current locale of the application, and then we are simply displaying it on the page by once again using this translation key that we will create in a moment, and we use interpolation in the following way. Okay, great. This widget can be utilized on the home page, so let's import it in the following way. And then you can simply add it right here to these children, and that's it. And the final thing to do is to, of course, provide the actual translation. So let's do it in the following way. You can provide meta information if you'd like, and let's provide the translation here. Once again, don't forget to rerun your generator, and now you should be good to go. Next, I'm going to show you how to localize date and time. So let's suppose that we want to display the current date and time on this page here. So how can we achieve that? We can do something like this. So we're getting the current date time, and then we will provide the corresponding translation. So the translation will look like this. And take a note of the meta information, because here we are simply using the interpolation as before. But the main magic is happening within the meta information, because here we are saying that this placeholder should be of this type and its format should be set to this value. Actually, there are many predefined formats that are available for us that we can take advantage of. So these formats are provided by the date format class that is available inside the Intel package. And finally, you can provide translations here. And then once again, just regenerate your files, and once again, you should be good to go. Also, let's see how to localize numbers and currencies. So for instance, I would like to display some price. Let's add a new text widget right here, and I would like to localize this number and display it as a price. And once again, we have quite a lot of available formats that are predefined in the number format class. Well, let me show you a quick example. So the currency demo once again contains interpolation. And then we're saying that it's an integer, the format is currency, and I would like to preserve 2 decimal digits for this price. And then, of course, don't forget to specify translations in all other files. And finally, let's see how to perform pluralization, because currently, well, we have this button that can be pressed, but, well, this text is not pluralized. It always says times pressed. But maybe I would like to change this message based on the value of counter. First of all, let's translate this text, and also let's replace this thing with the following line of code. So we're providing this counter as an argument. Yeah, actually, you can also translate this tooltip if you'd like. I will leave it to you as an exercise. And now let's provide translations for the English language. So, well, as for the press button, well, that's just an ordinary text, but the actual pluralization happens inside the button pressed key. So we are saying that based on this value, I would like to pick one of these options, and to achieve that we are using this plural expression. So for example, if it has been pressed 1 time, I'm using this message, and in all other cases I'm displaying this message and I'm interpolating the value of count right inside this text. So this is a plural expression for you. By the way, we can also format this count as a number in a compact format. Well, that's one of the formats that are available for us. Let's provide translations here as well. And in this case, you can see that we have 4 different options, because, well, different languages have different pluralization rules, so that's why you might need to provide more plural forms than in English. So now let's save the changes, now let's regenerate everything, and let's rerun our application to make sure that all our translations are working properly. And well, check it out, so it works. So here is the current locale, the date and time, the currency, this placeholder is working as well, and it says that the button has not been pressed yet. But if I press on it, it says 1 time, then 2 times, 3 times, etc. So it works perfectly. Now let's see how to programmatically change the locale of our application. And so first of all, let's add this provider dependency, and we are going to create our custom provider inside the, well, providers directory. It is going to be called locale provider.dart, and inside we're going to import this package once again, and we're going to say that the default locale of our application is English. And then what? Then we're going to have this method to set the locale, and if the locale is supported by our application, we store it and then we notify the listeners about this change. If the locale is not supported, then we don't do anything. So that's step number one. Well, step number two is we should tweak this my app file. So let's import our provider and this provider package as well. And actually we should, wrap the main part of this code into a special change notifier provider. So here, this line of code should be adjusted in the following way. So here let's provide this change notifier provider, and then we should say create, then context, and then inside we should say locale provider. So that's the provider that we have just created. And then on the next line, let's say builder. As for the builder, it should accept the context and it should accept the child. So all other code can be left intact. Just don't forget to close this round bracket in the following way. Also, what I would like to do is I would like to add a currently set locale in the following way. So we are reading the provider and we are getting the locale, but we don't have any provider at this point, so let's create it in the following way. So now we're getting our locale provider and we are getting the current locale. Now let's create the actual locale switcher. Inside the widgets, let's add a new file, locale switcher widget.dart. Let's import all the necessary files, and then here is the code for the widget. So let me explain to you what's going on. So first of all, we're getting the provider once again, and we're reading the currently set locale. Then we're creating the drop-down button with the value of locale, right? And then we're simply iterating over the list of all the supported locale, and we're using map. Then we get, the next locale from this list, and we're displaying the drop-down menu item with the following value, and when someone taps on this item, we are effectively saying, let's set the locale to a new value. Also, we display the actual text. Finally, let's utilize this widget inside my home page. Let's import this widget, and let's find this app bar section and let's add actions. So here is the final result, and so here is your locale switcher. Basically at this point you can make sure that all your translations are up to date. You can rerun your application and it should work. And here is the final result. So now we can switch the locale and you can see that it works really nicely. So the state is preserved, but the language is changed for us, which is great. So brilliant. At this point your application is translated, but the question is, what should you do if you don't really know the target language? So for instance, I would like to translate this application into French, but I don't know French, unfortunately. And so what should I do? Should I hire a professional translator? Well, probably. But the problem is that I don't want professional translators to modify these files directly. These files are quite complex and someone might unintentionally break the layout or do something strange to this file, and I don't know. So ideally we need a way to easily work with these files and maybe even translate these texts with the help of artificial intelligence. So that would be cool, right? And so I'm going to show you how to work with Lokalise that is here to save the day. So first of all, you grab your free trial by pressing on this button. You don't need to provide a credit card and you will get access to all the features for 2 weeks. Then you will end up on this page, you hit new project, and then let's give our project a name, for example, Flutter. Then as for the base language, I'm going to choose English because that's the default locale. You can choose any other language. And then as for the target languages, you can choose all other languages of your app, or perhaps the languages that you would like to translate into. Then choose this project type and click Proceed. And then we will need to upload our ARB file, so press Upload. And then you will need to choose a file from your PC. In fact, we can upload only the English translations because I'm not planning to change this Russian translations file. But if you would like to change this file, you can upload both of them. It's not a problem. So here is the result. Well, what I would actually recommend doing is provide this placeholder on this position. So this way, when this file will be downloaded in some other language, maybe in French, so this placeholder will be replaced with the locale code, which is really convenient. Okay, so then what? Then let's tick this option because we use ICU plurals. So what's an ICU plural, you ask? Well, actually, it is the following expression. Basically, these expressions are found in many other technologies. One thing to note is that you don't need to upload Dart files here. You only need to upload ARB files. Okay, so now let's return to the editor and check it out. So, well, here is our description, here is our file, here are our translations, so everything is brilliant. One thing to notice is that by default, English doesn't have the 0 plural form. You know why? Well, because it is not a standard plural form. So, well, by default, according to general rules, English has only 2 plural forms. But if you need more, well, you can simply tick this to on, pick 0, click Save, and then you can re-upload your translation file once again. So return to this page, then select the file, just like this, and tick the Replace Modified Values, say Import, and now your 0 plural form will return to you. Here you go. So now what? Now I would like to employ artificial intelligence to do the translations for me. So tick this checkbox, select Create a Task, click Proceed, then Confirm, and then simply choose the automatic translation from the drop-down and give it a name, for example, Translate French. Here you can provide additional instructions for artificial intelligence if you'd like, so AI will follow these instructions. Then click Next, and then, well, choose the source language, which is English, obviously, in my case, and I would like to translate into French only, and so the assignee would be Localize AI. Brilliant. Then hit Create, and your task will be in the works. And well, once this order is completed, you will get an email notification. So let's reload the page, and as you can see, the order is now completed, it is now closed. Return to the editor and check it out. So it has been translated for us. What's even better, artificial intelligence can understand plural forms, so it has provided these proper translations, and well, it has not tried to translate these placeholders, which actually is a good thing, because sometimes some tools try to translate those, and so I think we should be good to go, my friend. Let's proceed to the download page now, and let's export our translations. Make sure to pick Flutter ARB from this drop-down. So don't pick this option, because this option is only for mobile. I'm going to say a few words about it later. So for now, just choose this Flutter ARB, and you can pick one or more languages to include into the download bundle. So here is the progress for this language. And then once you're ready, just say build and download. And you will get an archive with your French translations. Now let's simply open our project and let's extract these translations right here. So let's check the contents of this file. So here you go. So here are all the translations in French for you. So I believe we've spent less than 5 minutes to actually generate those, which is really cool. Of course, you still should check those translations, well, because after all, that's an artificial intelligence, but still, these are quite good actually. If you need to hire a human translator, it is possible as well, so you can do that on Lokalise without any issues. But using artificial intelligence is much cheaper and much faster. And well, so now from this drop down, I can choose French. And so everything is translated, as you can see, brilliant. And so this is it, my friend, but now I would like to say a few more words about, well, this Flutter SDK for mobile. So what it does, basically, this is a feature that is called over the air, and it enables you to send all the updated translations directly to your mobile users without the need to release a new application version, basically. It's a really cool feature, and if you are interested in it, you can check my other article that is called Localize Flutter SDK and Over the Airflow. Actually, it has a video tutorial as well. Here I'm explaining how to get started and, well, how to use OTA. And actually, that's a very powerful tool because you don't need to re-release your application every time you need to change your translations. So, well, many customers of ours actually take advantage of this feature and they are quite happy with it. So, well, feel free to browse this article if you'd like. And so that's it for today. I thank you for staying with me. Happy coding and see you in other tutorials.